Hi, you're watching BlackCoffeePoet.com, and I'm Jorge Antonio Vallejos, and I'm honored to be here with CoCo La Creme.
Hi, Jorge. I'm so glad to be here. We are going to be talking about one of my favorite subjects. I am CoCo La Creme, and I'm a sex educator. I'm also a sex columnist for MetAnotherFrog.com and a burlesque performer. And I see that you're wearing a fabulous t-shirt. It's a little bit about burlesque.
I love burlesque, I support burlesque, and Coco's one of my favorite burlesque dancers. She's part of the troupe Skin Tight, Out of Sight. So we're celebrating erotic writing this week, and what we're doing is we are featuring a book edited by Rachel Creme called She's on Top. And Coco's been gracious enough to work with us this week to review the book, interview Rachel Creme and we're doing 2 videos. This is one of them, and an exciting video on the Friday. So the week is called She's on Top, Celebrating Erotic Writing.
Okay, so I think we wanted to talk a little bit, first of all, about the history of erotic writing, because there is lots of stuff that's available in a contemporary sense. However, people of all cultures at all times have always wanted to indulge in erotica, whether it's visual, written, or even different traditions such as oral.
Yeah, exactly. So, when you look up erotic writing, the history, they talk about Greece and Rome, and, everything goes back to there supposedly. We're way older than that. So that's why I say that there's probably been a lot of oral stories passed on and still passed on. Different traditions have different things. Not everything is written down. And so, there's a lot of poems that came out of Greece and Rome, and then you've got the Bible, which has the Song of Songs, and, and other traditions that Coco's going to be talking about.
Yeah, well, definitely. There are things like the erotic writing of Rumi from Persia. There are things like this, which is in the inner quarters, which is Liang Menchu's stories from about the 1500s. Now, that's not super ancient, but it does just go to show that there's a lot of erotic writing from different cultures that we may not be aware of. So if you'd like to see yourself better represented and you're wondering what your own history is, you may want to do some research, and you'd be surprised what you might find.
Cool. So, going up until a little bit more times that are closer to us, like you always hear of these big names, like the story of O by I think her name is Pauline Rage, and then you've got Tropic of Cancer by Henry Miller. You've got Little Birds by Anais Nin, and all these big names that are considered high quality writing. A lot of people refer to the books behind us as one-handed writing or low quality writing. And is it one-handed? Yeah, for some of us it is, but that doesn't mean it's a bad thing. It means it's a good thing. Anyways, and so I like to point out that, like, what really is erotic writing, what really is considered good writing. Last year Mario Vargas Llosa from Peru won the Nobel Prize in Literature. He's got an amazing erotic short story called Candalis, King of Lydia. I've read that story over and over again. It focuses on anal sex. Yes, Mario is into anal sex, it looks like. But it's no difference than the stuff behind us. We've got different categories here of erotica. And the stories that I like in here, I like just as much as Vargas Llosa. Actually, even better, to be honest. So yeah, just to point that out.
Yeah, there is really fabulous stuff to choose from. It's true, don't think of erotic writing as trashy. Just like any other genre, there are good writers and there are writers who may not appeal to you. So it's all about figuring out what's going to work for you. If you go into a sex shop that has a selection, or even actually a lot of regular bookstores, you don't necessarily have to go into a sex shop, have a selection of erotic writing, and you can flip through. The great thing is that there are a lot of collections and anthologies. So when you get a collection, you get it knowing that you may not like everything that's in it, but that there's going to be something that appeals to you, and it'll give you a better sense of where to go from there. You'll find out who your favorite writers are, and things like that. And there's a variety of things that you can get. So whether you like fairy tales, right? A book like Fairy Tale Lusts is fabulous. Or if you are wanting to get something that is really romantic, something like Sweet Life, erotic fantasies for couples is great. There are books that are really edgy. So if you wanted something kinky, there are books that are on bondage, and maybe, Jorge, you could be kind enough to pass me something.
Spec.
Oh yes, look at that.
Love
That
it.
looks great. So, so wherever your tastes lie, there is going to be something out there for you. And of course, if you don't find it, one of the best things to do is to get writing. Oh yeah.
Best bondage erotica.
Best bondage erotica.
Good stuff.
Fabulous. Now there are also, not only is there the breakdown of edgy versus softer types of things, there's also erotica, a lot of erotica written about very specific topics. So as we just saw, there's a book all about spanking, there's a book all about bondage, and there are books that do feature people of color, which is fabulous because that can be missing in a lot of anthologies. So if you're looking for things that represent your culture a bit better, then you could check out, a book like, say, Desilicious, which is all South Asian erotica, which is great. There are some collections of Pacific Asian stuff too. Actually, a local author who is really fabulous is Eden Bailey. This is a local author, and
Local as in Toronto?
In Toronto, sorry, yes, in Toronto. And so this is a fabulous book. It is all one author. And she is a Pacific Asian woman, and that is fantastic. And there are also collections that are focused just on Black people, so Making the Hookup, Edgy Sex with Soul, or one of the really popular Black American erotic writers is Zane or Janae. I'm not totally sure how you pronounce it, but I do know she's very popular. And actually, she's kind of like erotic writing establishment. I know she's been on the Essence magazine list.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
She put herself in the hot box.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, yeah, a large demographic of what is now known as North America are Latino folk. And so there's a lot of Latino folk who I'm sure who want to read erotic writing. And so there's some names I can mention here. One is called Caliente, Best Erotic Writing in Latin American Fiction. Kind of cheesy name, kind of fitting at the same time. Pleasure in the Word, Erotic Writing by Latina Women. Awesome. Latino Boys, which I think is focused on gay folk. Amazing. Latin Submission. Love it. And there's a really, really good book that I enjoyed myself. The Girls Our Mothers Warned Us About. And it's all lesbian writing by Latina women. And it's fucking amazing. It's not necessarily erotic, but it is definitely challenging. It's sexy. It's really, really, really fun stuff. So check that anthology out as well.
Okay, great. And I did also want to point out that there are fabulous titles for queer folks also. So, you'd mentioned some of the Latin queer stuff, which is great. And, you can check out classic queer stuff like The Leather Daddy and the Femme by Carol Queen. This is a classic, and it's really, really hot. Or one of my favorite authors also, Pat Califia, who's been really prolific, has a lot of great books. This was just recently republished, Macho Sluts. And I would say that this is required reading for anybody who wants to know about Pat Califia. It's fantastic. So check it out. There's lots of great collections too, as far as best bisexual women's erotica, which is great. Can't leave the bisexual people out.
No, they're often seen as on the fence and they're pushed off of the LGBTQ community, and that's not right.
No, it isn't.
I'm glad that they have their own anthology.
Anthology just for bis like you and I. And, and this is the best lesbian erotica. series, which is published every year. So
Great
there's
series.
always going to be great new stories.
Great series. I actually read an amazing story in Best Lesbian Erotica probably in '08, and it focused on a homeless couple. Now, mind you, it was fiction, but I think that was pretty amazing. You know, we always think of erotica as people in homes or people who are, you know, kind of established, but homeless folk have sex too, people. And that was an amazing story, and I think it was Best Lesbian Erotica '08 or '07. Back to Pat Califia, maybe we can talk about our favorites. I've had an amazing date, and what we did was we read paragraph per paragraph, we back and forth, this Pat Califia book. Another thing, this is my favorite editor of erotica, Alison Tyler. No snub to Rachel Kramer Bussell, I like her as well, but Alison Tyler put together a book called Got a Minute. I also read that on several dates, and it was amazing. This is the follow-up called 60 Stories of Sudden Sex, which I just found today, and I'm probably going to grab pretty soon. So, Alison, thank you very much for putting great collections together.
Fabulous. And some of my favorites, I really love The Trainer. This is my absolute favorite series. It's the Marketplace series by Laura Antonio. And this is one of the books in the series, The Trainer. This is a fabulous collection for anybody. I own all of these books. They're really good. And they feature all kinds of people. They're kinky, and they've got a real diverse cast of characters, including trans people, queer people, and people of color. So love Laura Antonio for that. And if you want to get really, really edgy, a couple of books that have really stood out to me over the years are these two books by Mark Pritchard, How I Adore You, and Too Beautiful. The cover. Yeah, the covers are pretty incredible. And this is some very edgy, experimental erotic writing. So if you're looking for something very different, you feel like you've read it all before, you might want to check him out.
Awesome. So, maybe we can go into what's missing in the industry. So what's missing in the industry really is the industry is run by white folk. So as much as we have mentioned anthologies by different peoples of color from different cultures, the industry is still dominated by white people and straight people. So we're trying to, you know, give some resources here that aren't so heteronormative and, you know, show that erotica is celebrated by everyone.
Definitely. So, I mean, one thing that we didn't get to point out is that there wasn't a collection of trans erotica here. So I would like to just give a couple of titles if you're looking for that. There is the Trans Figures collection, which is edited by M. Christian, which is really good, and Best Transgender Erotica, edited by Henny Blank and Raven Caldera. Those are a couple books you might want to check out. You can also definitely check out Pat Califia's stuff, because Pat Califia's stuff deals a lot with gender, and you know, there are other anthologies where you may find a little bit, but these two are completely focused on it, so that's great.
Awesome. A genre that is really overlooked is erotica by people with disabilities. Now, some people with disabilities refer to themselves as crip. There's people say there's crip erotica. That's cool. So I'm just gonna give some resources for that. So you've got a group out of San Francisco. They're actually a people of color GIMP performance group, and you can find them on YouTube as well. They're called Sins Invalid, and I think they've got a website called sinsinvalid.org. You've got Celie Quest. You've got AJ Withers, who's got a zine called 28 Lays Later. Alternatively, Dawn of the Head, or Plan 9 from Inner Legs. Awesome. You've got Essence and Artifice by Leslie Freeman Dykeson. You've got Leroy Moore, who writes erotic poetry, and they are part of the Sins Invalid group out of San Fran. You've got criperotica.wordpress.com, and one of my favorites, somebody I really, really, really respect, trans man Eli Clare. Eli Clare is a person with a disability. He's transgendered, he's queer, and he's fucking amazing. And you can actually see a review I did of his book, The Merrill's Telling, on blackcoffeepoet.com in September, I believe, or October. We did a whole week on him, review, interview, video. So check that out. That's some resources for people with disabilities who write erotica.
Fabulous. One thing that I wanted to just point out too is something I love about erotica is the inventive names that people come up with for their stories and ideas. I think it's really fabulous.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I think, Jorge, you were going to talk a little bit about erotica for larger people as well.
Yes, there is a book called Big Big Love, and that's by Hani Blank, edited by Hani Blank. There's the Marketplace series by Laura Antonio, who you mentioned earlier,
Yeah.
I believe. There's Zaftig, Well-Rounded Erotica, again, cool name,
Yes.
by Hani Blank. Unruly Appetites. So there's some stuff there. And for people like myself who have a foot fetish, you can check out a book called Love Underfoot by Greg Wharton and M. Christian.
So really there's everything out there for all tastes, which is super fabulous. And we're hoping that you will go out and check out erotica for yourself. If you haven't given this genre a chance, check it out. You need to have variety in your book collection, right? There's got to be stuff that you can read on the subway, and there's got to be stuff that you can read in the bedroom.
Absolutely, or wherever you want.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to read your erotica on the subway, go ahead.
Read on the plane and then have your, join the Mile High Club or something like that.
Oh, man.
Just to acknowledge that we are on Indigenous land, and another thing is there's erotica by Native Americans as well. Without Reservation, which was put out by Kekadon's Press, a small press that's sort of the Cape Croker Reserve here in Ontario, Canada, the land now known as Canada. And there's also Arab erotica, and I can only find one source, sadly, asexstories.com. So, yeah, that's what we've got here. As resources. Again, you've got to do your own research. You can't always be provided with everything. We try to do our best, and we just hope that you read, play.
And so exciting news, we have a contest for you. There are a couple of erotic books that we will be giving away. So if you have watched this video and you'd like to maybe start your collection or add to it, then you can just email in and let us know what was the book that Jorge talked about as being his favorite book and what was my favorite book. And if you can answer that correctly, you will win a prize.
Exactly. And that contest ends August 27th, I believe, is Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
August
contest ends
27th.
August 27th. The book you'll be getting is She's on Top, which CoCo is reviewing. The review is under this video. On Wednesday, there's an interview between CoCo and Rachel Kramer-Bussell, and then there's also a really amazing photo essay that's going to be in between the text. You'll have to go to it to see what it is. And there's an amazing video on the Friday of CoCo reading from She's on Top. Again, this is She's on Top week, celebrating erotic writing. We'd like to thank Clace Press. They're the ones that are going to be providing the winners with the book. At this moment, there's 2 books that are going to be given away. Again, it's this book. So just email me at blackcoffeepoet@gmail.com or friend me on Facebook. I am Black Coffee Poet. Add me on Twitter. I am also Black Coffee Poet. Did you get that? I'm Black Coffee Poet.
Okay, and I'm CoCo La Creme. So if you want to get further info from me or learn more about what I do, you can visit CoCoLaCreme.com. I'm also on Facebook as CoCo La Creme. And you can also read my sex advice column on metanotherfrog.com. So
Awesome. I love CoCo. I love her work. And I'm so happy to be working with her this week. And we'd like to thank the Good For Her Sex Shop in Toronto for allowing us to tape this segment, this workshop, this intro to erotica in their store. These are the books that are being sold here at the Good For Her Sex Shop, and they've also got a website, and they run the Feminist Porn Awards once a year. So thank you for joining us. Thank you again for being a reader, a viewer of blackcoffeepoet.com. We really hope you enjoy this week, and have fun. And again, read, play. And if you want to write. And maybe you'll be in one of these books one day.
Mm-hmm.
Peace out. Thank you very much.
Thank you.